Hello, everyone. It's time for Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 434, season 18. Today's date is May 17th, 2025, and welcome to the show. On today's program, I'm going to read off a menu from the Peter Pan restaurant. They had several locations in the Chicagoland area a long time ago. And it's still remembered to this day by older people like myself. And also I'll talk about discontinued products from Jello from the 1970s and even, the 80s too. So this will be very interesting. Before I get started, the program will go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Jello Soft Swirl, how appropriate. And this commercial is from 1972, and it features the lovely lady, Florence Henderson. So sit back and relax, and I'll be right back with the show, folks. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Florence Henderson. My husband and I live by a very simple rule. Treat your company like family, and your family like company. Well, why serve an elegant dessert only on elegant occasions? Especially this one. New Jello Soft Swirl. It's rich and creamy, yet light enough to peek and swirl. And Soft Swirl is ready to serve in 15 minutes. So treat your family like company, even when there's no company around. Dig in, family.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Jello Soft Swirl. And that was the lovely and talented Florence Henderson, also known as Carol Brady from the Brady Bunch. And it came out in 1972, so she was on the show during that time. And I sort of remember this commercial growing up, and I remember the product. And I posted this yesterday that I was going to discuss discontinued items from Jello, and I found this one, and this looks pretty cool. It looks like the richest pudding I've ever seen in my life. So if you want to watch the commercial, it's on YouTube. Help yourself. And I will talk a little bit more about that product and others later on in the show. Okay. All right. So at the beginning of the program, I mentioned I'm going to I'm going to read off a menu from the Peter Pan restaurant. They were located in the Chicago area. They had many locations. Also, I will discuss discontinued Jello products from the 70s, sometimes the 80s, and also flavors. Yeah, we'll talk about that as well. Before I get started, I mention a couple things. One, Monday, I start my second chemo. This is the second round. Hopefully this will work. I've had a little pain for about a week. It's my left pelvis. I think it's a lesion. So I take Tylenol. It does help a little bit. But it's like when I get up or sit, it hurts. So hopefully this will work. And hopefully the chemo will work. I'm praying. I'm really praying. Also, I want to mention yesterday was the 13th anniversary of Van Chicagoland, the Facebook page. Started this on May 16th, 2012. And it started out as Chicago Extinct Businesses. It was just only businesses. And that I changed the name from that to Van Chicagoland in 2019. So I want to cover more, areas like that. Because I remember people complaining about that. You should talk about businesses, not other stuff like that. But, I want to broaden it a little bit. And it worked. So nobody thinks about Chicago Extinct Businesses. No, they don't do that. They don't mention it. And, I said this in the beginning, the story that, one day I was surfing through Facebook and I noticed a business page, dispenses Castle of Toys. And I'm saying to myself, what are they talking about? It's out of business. It's been out of business since the 80s, but it was a tribute page. So I'm thinking to myself, why don't I do something, not dispenses Castle of Toys, do other businesses that were gone. And there were a lot of them, Marshall Fields, You get the drills there, all that Taubman Bank, the first thing, Children's Park in town, Polk Brothers. So I did that, and I posted photos, but it took a while for it to catch on, maybe about a couple of years. And it grew a little bit, and then the young man from DNA Info, he was a reporter. His name is Justin Breen. Right now, he's on his own. He doesn't work there anymore. Then they turned into Block Club Chicago, which is still in publication. He contacted me and said, I'd like to do an interview about your page. And I said, okay, fine. He called me. We talked on the phone, and he published it. And in September 2014, the rest was history. And I had 32,000 likes in one day. It just zoomed up. And then I got a lot of exposure. I was interviewed on the radio, newspapers, magazines. It was great. It died down a bit, but then I continued posting, and then it grew and grew and grew. And, I'm associated with that. The other day I was having lunch. A lady approached me and said, you're a fan of Chicagoland. And she asked for my autograph. Isn't that something? And I said, of course I will. I will sign it. And she didn't want to be photographed. No. I respected her wishes. I asked her. She said no. I said, okay, I won't do that. So I signed my autograph. She was so happy. Very sweet. She was a little older than me, and she says her favorite subject was Riverview. She loves that post, and I agree with her. So every time that happened to me in the doctor's office, I took my mother there, and there was a lady. She was a receptionist, and she recognized me. So it's nice, I don't expect attention. I just go on my life and just like that. This is something I do, and I'll continue to do that even though I'm sick. I will continue, if a lot of great things happened. Been mentioned on television. I haven't been on it yet. We'll see about that. And then I received the Citizen Historian Award from the Chicago Historical Museum. It was a great honor. I had a wonderful day. That was the best day of my life. My family was there. It was amazing. I loved it. And thank you for that. I appreciate it. So I will continue posting. Yeah, I like to find new things. I do post stuff before, but that's okay. It keeps it fresh. It does. Okay. Right now, I'm going to read off a menu from the Peter Pan restaurant. I found a little history of this place. I don't know if it's true, but let's start. So it was called Peter Pan Snack Shops, and they opened in Chicago between the 40s, the mid-1940s, and one was in the Edgewater neighborhood. And the owner was Chris Carson. You may know him as Carson Ribs. That's the one. And the ads were the place where happy people meet to eat. Okay. Then it was very successful. I will tell you the locations in a moment where they were. Then he sold the businesses to a company called Midwest Drive-In Theaters, and around 1952, 1953, and expanded business to drive-ins, and it built not just in Chicago, but also Detroit and Boston. And later on, it just, they went out of business. Probably in the 60s, I'm thinking, probably mid-1960s, and then it was gone. For Chris Carson, he opened Carson's Ribs. He had a few locations in the Chicagoland area. The one I used to work in the River North area in the 90s, and Carson's was across the street. It was on, what's that street? Ontario, I think. And I went there for lunch a couple times. Good food like that. Most of the locations are closed, but now there are only 3 remaining. 2 are in Chicago, 1 in Milwaukee. There's one downtown at 465 East Illinois, and the other one is in Deerfield. I don't know if it's the same. Maybe. I don't know. So that's so if you get your fix for ribs, but it's very fancy. Okay. So that's good. So Peter Pan, the one I remember Peter Pan, when I was very little, I grew up in South Shore, in south side of Chicago, and my mom went there a couple of times, and it was located on the corner at East 71st Street and Jeffrey Boulevard. And the one who owned it was a friend of my dad's aunt. She owned that like that. And my mom went there a couple of times. The reason was on 71st Street, you had it's called the IC, the Illinois Central Train, but now it's Metro. Across the street was the South Shore Bank. My dad had money there. And also next door was the Jeffrey Theater, and they said it was a beautiful theater. I never went there. I wish I went. So anyway, that's what I remember. There is a photo floating around of of that location. Okay. So the other locations were, I'll get them up in a second. Here we go. Here we are. All right, here they are. Now, I mentioned it was at 71st and Jeffrey. I'll read them off from top to bottom. There was one on Devon Avenue in Western. That's at West Ridge neighborhood. Lawrence and Broadway. That's probably the first one, I imagine. There was one at Oak Street next to the Esquire Theater. There was one in North and Harlem. Adams and Wabash, Madison near Cicero, that's on the west side. That's like the Austin neighborhood. Adams and Dearborn, and of course there was, 71st and Jeffrey. Some people said there was one in Cermak and Harlem. Maybe it opened later, but I believe there was one there. Okay. Now, the menu, let's see what we got. Just a moment, please. I'm having a little trouble. Okay, just a moment. Here we go. There we go. So I'll get to that. First, I'm going to talk about their charbroiled hamburgers. And according to some people, it was wonderful. Now, they had the Peter Pan burger. That's like fresh grain-fed beef on a toasted bun, open face with sliced tomatoes, and served with golden French potatoes and creamy coleslaw. Delicious. Same thing with cheeseburgers. They had a Latin burger, only they had chopped hot banana peppers. Okay. The sides are the same. They had a Dagwood burger. That's a double portion. That's like, I think that's two hamburger patties and a thick slice of American cheese, and stuffed olives, and stuffed with mayonnaise. That was the Dagwood burger. Okay. There was also the Riviera burger, and it was covered with onion rings on a toasted bun. That's the only difference. They had the olive burger. Now, this burger, it was very popular, and I've seen comments from Facebook about this burger, and it's like with sliced stuffed Spanish olives. I don't like olives. I like olive oil, but I wouldn't order this burger. But a lot of people loved it, and they said it was fantastic. And the other one was a Franchise. This was a king-size jumbo red hot stuff with melted American cheese wrapped with crisp bacon, served on a toasted bun. That sounds good. Okay. Other sandwiches they had was grilled American cheese, ham and egg. Let's see, chicken salad, liver sausage, ham sandwich, lettuce and tomato, plain Franchise, plain hamburger if you like, BLT, salmon salad, egg salad, boiled ham, Swiss cheese sandwich if you like. Okay. Also, they served fluffy golden brown waffles, and it's served with bacon or sausage or slice or grilled ham, and also with ice cream or with strawberries. So if you want dessert. Okay, so they also serve dinners. They had New York cut sirloin steak, super sirloin, that's a king size one, 1/2 Southern fried chicken, charcoal broiled hamburger steak, French fried shrimp, haddock steak. Also, they served eggs, 2 country fresh eggs, served with bacon, toast, jelly, a plain omelet, or a jelly omelet. I love jelly omelets. Ham, bacon, or cheese omelets. They also had pies, whipped cream pies if you want. They had pastries. Let's see what they have else. Malted milks. They had malted shakes, triple rich. Any flavor you want. It says here Boston sodas. They had all kinds of flavors. Lime float with pineapple sherbet. Also, they had Peter Pan sundaes. Any flavor you want. Chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, hot fudge, marshmallow. They had banana splits. Okay. These are fancy. They're like fresh strawberry. It's like fruit. So it's like fresh strawberries, raspberries, stuff like that. Also, beverages. They had coffee, milk, chocolate milk, iced tea, Green River, Coca-Cola. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's see if I miss anything. I don't think I have. Okay. No, that's it. Okay. So I wish I went to this place. I think I was with my mom when she went there a couple of times, but I don't remember it. I was very little, but I wish it was back. And a lot of people who used to live in that area, North Side or South, especially South Shore, they remember this place very well. And it was like when they went to a movie, to the Jeffrey Theater, either before, they would go there and get a snack or dinner. You would just go across the street with the train tracks. And that was the 71st bus, still there. The Jeffrey bus it's changed. First it was 5 Jeffrey, then it's 6 Jeffrey, then it's Express Jeffrey, and now it's the 14 Jeffrey Jump. And they had the 14 Express. A lot of changes with that, bus route. It was an interesting bus route. Okay. Right now, I'm going to take a break, and then when I come back, I'll talk about the discontinued items from Jello from the 1970s and perhaps the 80s. So sit back and relax, and I'll be right back. I'll be right back with the rest of the show, folks. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I am back. Right now, I'm going to talk about discontinued products from Jello. I remember some of these in the 1970s, and now I just mentioned the Soft Swirl. I played the commercial earlier in the program, and this came out in 1971 and lasted for about a few years. I did that, and so I don't know why they discontinued that. I have no idea. As for Jello, there's another product. It was called, let's see. I have a timeline of Jello right here. And this is very interesting. So I like that. Let's see what we got here. Maybe I could pull it up. This is very interesting. It's like a PDF file. Excuse me. Okay, so here we go. So Jello was founded in 1897, and the 4 original flavors was raspberry, strawberry, lemon, and orange. And then in 1904, they expanded. They had cherry and chocolate. Then they had cola flavor from 1942. Lime was introduced in I'm going backwards. Let me start again. So 1904 was cherry and chocolate. 1907 was peach. 1918 was coffee flavor. 1930 was lime, and cola flavor was introduced in 1942, but it only lasted a year. 1955 they had an apple flavor. I don't think you find it today. 1956 they had black raspberry, grape, and black cherry. Those were added. Then they had strawberry banana. They had raspberry, and the flavors at that time were blackberry, orange, banana, lemon, lime, strawberry, banana, and pineapple, grapefruit. Okay. Then that was from 1961 to 1965. The other six was 1956, those dark flavors. 1968, they had wild cherry, wild strawberry, and wild raspberry. They had the wild there. And in 1965, they had Mr. Wiggle, and that was for kids, and it was artificially sweetened in candy flavors like that. And also, this is weird. In 1965, they added like vegetable flavor. Oh my God, I don't know how that tastes. Celery, mixed vegetable, seasoned tomato, and Italian salad. Ugh, I wouldn't eat that. No. And then, oh, that's funny. In 1969, they introduced Jello 123. I'll get to that one in a moment. I'll explain about that particular product. Peach returns in 1975, and then they had apricot in 1978. And in 1994, the cranberry was introduced. Also, grape was reintroduced, and in 1993, they had watermelon. 1992, they had berry blue, and then the 123 was introduced in 1989. I'm going backwards like this. And 1995, they had cranberry, strawberry, cranberry, raspberry. 1996, they had island pineapple and peach passion fruit. And in 1997, they had sparkling white grape. I don't know how that would taste. I don't know. So there was all kinds of flavors. It really was. And that was bizarre. Like that. Let's see what else. Of course, in the 80s, the products, they also had pudding pops. I did a podcast episode about pudding pops. They were introduced maybe the early 80s, and then it was discontinued in 2004. And I don't know why, because people miss it. I love those. Those were great. It's a shame they got rid of them. I don't get it. Of course, Jello had pudding. They had chocolate, vanilla. I remember chocolate fudge. They had pistachio, butterscotch. I think some of them were there. I mean, there were some that they tried, but they went away. So now I'm going back to the Jello 123. Now, the Jello 123 that was introduced in 1969, and it was discontinued in 1996, but they brought it back in 1989. It was properly prepared, separate, and solidified into 3 distinct layers. Okay, that's what it was. So the top layer was creamy top. The middle layer was a mousse-like. It was like chocolate mousse in a way. It was mousse, texture. And the bottom was regular Jello. I don't remember my mother buying this. I don't think she did, but I'm going to show it to her when she gets home. Do you remember this? Jello 123? Maybe. She used to make a Jello mold with lime with sour cream, I think. No, Cool Whip. Maybe it's a Cool Whip with pineapple slice. It was good. I like that. Also, she someone made a traffic light. They take like layers of cherry, maybe lemon, and lime, and it was like striped. So a friend of my mom's made that. That was delicious. That was very good. But I got to find a recipe like that. So today people still remember Jello 123. I remember that. Not as much as the soft swirl, but this particular product, yes, they do. So that's interesting. Okay. As for Jello, I do eat it today. I like Jello. Some people think it's old-fashioned and boring. No, it's good. A friend of mine, I was talking to a friend of mine one day in church, and her daughter was there, and we mentioned Jello, and the daughter said, Jello's for old people. Her mother didn't like that. I certainly didn't either. That's sort of insulting in a way, but, I think people ought to be careful what they say, especially to their elders. Yeah. But I like Jello. I really do. I don't mind. I ate a lot of that before, during my prostate cancer recovery. I had to eat that before preparing up with the surgery. That happened 5 years ago. I ate a lot of Jello. That was fine. Okay. So that's it for this show. I'll do a recap of what I've talked about today. I read off a menu from the Peter Pan Snack Shops. It was a restaurant. They had several locations in the Chicagoland area. Also, I discussed the discontinued products from Jello. Okay. This podcast will be published later on today, wherever podcasts are found. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Breaker, Overcast, iHeartRadio. If you have those apps on your phones or your tablet, tap on them, tap follow. You receive a notification of the latest episode. You can listen to previous episodes if you like. Also, it's also on my blog, www.vanishchicagoland.blog. And all of the episodes are listed. If you have an email, you can subscribe. You receive a notification, or I think you do. I'm not sure. Also, be on my YouTube channel. And again, people ask me, where do I find your podcast? Where do I find your podcast? You can find it on YouTube. You do a search Vanish Chicagoland Stories, or my name, Pete Costanas. Click subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. You can listen. You'll receive a notification of the latest episode. You can listen to previous episodes. Oh, somebody sent me a message that says, I can't listen because it says private. Sometimes YouTube changes my channel from public to private. So I changed it again. I don't know why it does that. It's bizarre. So if you haven't listened, please double check, because right now it's public. I got to keep double checking that. It's very annoying. Also, be shared on my social media accounts: Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Reddit, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. There'll be the links, and it'll take right there. Oh, one last thing. I was taking a poll that some people have asked me, why don't you write a book about Vanish Chicagoland? I thought about it many years, and I might do that, but not right now. I'm still doing chemo. I want to get this out of the way. So if I go in remission, I will start doing that. I'll find that it'll take time. I have an idea how to do it. I have how it would be structured, how it would be laid out. So that's good. I will do that. I promise. And it'll be a lot of fun, but I need a little help. So that's a great idea. And I posted that on Facebook and all my socials, and people said, yeah, go for it. Do it. I'd buy it. They give me suggestions. Do a coffee table version, do a paperback, do a hard copy. We'll see. We'll see about that. Okay. So this is Pete Costanas, your host for Vanish Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. It's been warm all week. We hit that crazy dust storm yesterday. What the heck was that? I mean, I don't want to go into it. But it's getting colder. Yeah, it's a little cold. It's going to be cold for the rest of the week. So I kind of like this weather. I hate hot weather. Can't stand it. So, but I like it in the 70s. It's nice. Okay. I will probably do another podcast episode tomorrow. We will see. I will let you know. Okay, so here's bye-bye for me, and here is bye-bye from that wonderful Chicago legend and a good man, Ray Rayner, with a little traveling music saying bye-bye-bye. Take care, everyone, and so long.
We have to go. Bye-bye-bye.